Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today, you are in store for another incredible video looking at the oldest photographs in history. We're going to be diving back into the collection of Francis Frith. Now, if you watched any of my last videos, Francis, before I began this research, was a name that I seldom heard discussed before. However, according to the current mainstream narrative regarding Francis Frith, he had the largest photographic negative collection of the entire 1800s, with his company producing over 330,000 unique photographs of Europe, the Middle East, and other countries further abroad. Now, according to this narrative, every photograph we will look at today dates from 1855 through 1862, and every image in today's video will be of the Holy Land, of Jerusalem, and these photographs all come to us courtesy of Francis Frith. Besides these incredible ruins that we can find all throughout the Levant, we really look at Jerusalem here, and we can see that the history has been all but covered over, not just the architecture, which itself appears to be overgrown, but we actually have a historical narrative, which appears to be compartmentalized. It has been dissected piece by piece, and to understand the whole thing would be nearly impossible. However, I do believe the first photographs of these specific locations, including the Holy Land, including Jerusalem, including the Levant, when we look at this location as a whole, the best way to understand all of the anomalies is to look at the architecture, to look at the photographs. And I believe these photographs from Francis Frith are some of the most incredible we have, not only because of the detail and the vast assortment of locations within the Holy Land that Francis visited, but because in nearly all of these photographs, we can see detail that we do not see in many other Old World photographs. For example, we can see the skyline, the clouds in many of these images. And besides that, when we zoom in and look at the details in these images, we can see just about every aspect of the architecture, whereas other photographs of even larger cities, even more occupied, populated cities at this time, we have photographs of cities like Paris and London, and they are not nearly as detailed as these photographs that were taken in the Middle East. So that is just a little bit more food for thought as we dive into these images. Now, we also have a vast collection here, which I haven't shared before, of Francis Frith's 3D or stereoscopic images. This is Old World 3D photography, basically the precursor to the Viewmaster or the toy you may have used as a kid. We have the same sort of technology being employed here in the 1860s. So if any of you have a VR headset or have the ability to view these images in that way, you should look at these Old World photographs in 3D and let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But for right now, I will chime out. I'm not going to wax about the narrative regarding Jerusalem and the Holy Land and the surrounding area. Rather than doing that, I want to hear what you think, what stands out to you in any of these images down below, and I can't wait to further our discussion in the comment section. I will talk to you all on the next video, but stick around because we have a handful of incredible images to dive into. And one other thing I wanted to point out, when we zoom in on a mountainside in this collection of photographs, and I will chime back in when we get to that image, it is very interesting, very coincidental that the mountainside appears to be a face. Just something interesting to look at, but I will point that out later. Enjoy these images. We will talk soon. So before I completely chime out on this video, here is the mountainside that I wanted to show you. Now, if you look in the background of this photograph, or if you look at the mountain that is the furthest away from us, and imagine turning that vertically, it appears to me to look like a face. And we have many mountainsides, some of the most famous mountains around the world being named as if they were actually living creatures at one point. It's very interesting, and this mountain here in Jerusalem is no different. Now, modern day scholars will tell us that human beings have an ability to pick out human features in non-human objects. This is called pareidolia, but I believe there is something more to this. Just like when we look at the architecture here that is of the old world, that is of an ancient time before we really have a true narrative that we can put our hands on. When we see architecture like this, it sort of sparks something, at least within me, that lets me believe we're seeing something more here than what the current narrative has given it credit for. Just like when we look at the mountainsides that were named as if they were fallen giants, I believe our ancestors had more than just a tongue-in-cheek joke that they were making when they made these names. I believe many used to believe that these mountainsides, that these fallen giants, could have been one in the same, and it's just a very interesting food for thought as we look through the architecture of the old world. If we can imagine the biblical cataclysms actually occurring, and if they occurred in a more recent time than what has been accepted by scholars and historians, then can we imagine that the same creatures that are written of in our biblical text, like the giants, could have fallen and could have become amalgamated into the land itself? Then we look at the most holiest cities on earth, and we have to beg the question, what more could be buried beneath the layers of soil, the layers of mud, and the layers of rewritten history? I will leave you with that. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Let me know which photograph in this video stood out to you the most, and I can't wait to talk to you on the next one. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for hundreds of more videos just like this one.